Hi guys, and welcome back. We're here at twitch.tv/AWS. I'm Abby, I'm here with Randall and AM, and we are going to be recapping some of the things that have happened since yesterday. This is Monday of reInvent, but we started on Sunday this year. Talking about some of the announcements from yesterday, and then talking a little bit about what's coming up. Randall, what was your favorite from last night?
Well, last night we had something called Midnight Madness, which is really, really cool. But before we get into that, I know a lot of people coming into this stream may not be super familiar with Amazon Web Services, AWS. So we're going to turn it over to our newest team member here to talk about what AWS is.
It's me. So what is AWS, right? What isn't AWS is probably a better question at this point. We have like 120 plus services across all different kinds of workflows, right? We've got compute, we've got storage, we've got, I'm blanking, but we've got a huge amount, AR, VR, ML, tons of stuff, right?
So it's like a global IT solutions provider that gives you the ability to run any of your compute, storage, infrastructure, ML, transformation workloads, anything that you would need to do in an IT solution. You can run that on top of AWS.
We're missing the cloud part.
Right,
and
the cloud.
The
cloud is just
that's the important part.
My favorite part is it's somebody else's computer. That's what the cloud is. That's the easiest way to understand it. It's somebody else's computer that you don't own, right? That you as an IT infrastructure inside your company, you don't own those computers. You don't own those servers, right?
You pay per use. You pay as you go. You don't have to, spend millions of dollars up front to get a data center and all this other good stuff. And we've been really, really lucky with AWS in that it's grown tremendously. We've had a tremendous several years of working and building new services. And since 2012, we've been running this annual conference called AWS ReInvent. And that's where we're at today, right now. This is AWS ReInvent.
All week, actually, yeah.
It is.
Today's day, like 1.5?
We're about 0.45% of the way through the entire conference.
We started last night at 10, I think, so Midnight Madness was our kickoff event. Today we started workshops and breakout sessions and builder sessions and labs and talks, and then tonight will be Monday Night Live.
And one of the things that we do at reInvent is we announce a lot of our new services.
That's what lots of people are excited about, right?
And that's what all these people who are walking around are. These are all AWS customers, Amazon Web Services customers. They're going to the certification lounge, they're grabbing lunch, they're attending sessions, breakout sessions. It's a really, really fun event. It's here all across Vegas in a bunch of different hotels and venues. It's probably one of my favorite times of the year. I've come as both a customer and as an employee. You've been as a customer too, right?
I actually have not been as a customer. This is my third reInvent, and it was my first reInvent was like my third week of work. I had just started working here, and I onboarded at reInvent basically.
Trial by fire.
Yeah, so if anyone's ever wondering why I don't have my laptop set up properly, that is why.
This is my third reInvent too, actually. But this is my first as an evangelist and an employee of Amazon.
And we're very happy to have you on the team, by the way. I don't know if we've said that.
You only say that because the camera's on. As soon as that's off, different story.
So we have a whole bunch of content coming up for you this week on this channel. We're going to be broadcasting interviews with different session owners and product owners. We're going to be broadcasting all kinds of really fun content, and we're even going to be doing a few launches on the stream. Is there anything else on the stream that I'm forgetting? Anything?
So I want to say that between noon and 2 Pacific every day is Launch Extravaganza. That's Launchpad.
Yes.
Which I'm now renaming Launch Extravaganza. Outside of that, we're doing interviews with service teams. We have we'll be going in depth on launches from the keynotes in the morning. So if something's mentioned really quickly, we often have like the PM or something coming on to talk about it later. Streaming some of the community day stuff. Keynotes are live streamed this year.
Yeah, we're going to be streaming the keynotes live on Twitch. So I think a couple people like Cuttlefish Riot has asked, is the keynote going to be broadcast here? Yes, it is. And if you guys have any questions in chat, one of the best things about Twitch is we can read your questions, we can look at them, we can answer your questions live on the stream. We're going to have product owners here who are dealing with some of the launches later, and they'll actually be able to answer your questions, any question you have about the product right there on the stream in that time. So it's a really good channel to tune into and pay attention to over the course of the next week.
We're going to have a bunch of footage from different places around Vegas too, which I think is super cool, right?
I like that.
Yeah.
Roaming interviews.
Yeah.
Cuttlefish is saying, I thought there was an event at 12:30. This is our event. We're just kicking off coverage for the week. We'll be back. You will be so tired of us by Friday. Just so tired of us.
Yeah.
This is just the kickoff. We'll be back the rest of the week.
And we're going to be live streaming the keynote with Peter DeSantis tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
Monday Night Live.
I'm going to go there. Are you?
I would like to go there, yeah.
To Monday Night Live? I don't know, maybe.
So I went last night to Midnight Madness. Abby, you went as well, right?
I did.
And did you join us?
I did not.
Okay.
For me, it was more like 1 a.m. madness.
Yeah,
but
that's past my bedtime. I'm older than you two. I'm just gonna say, I won't say how much older, but
So we did a few launches last night. We had a couple of customers come up on stage, and I think we should recap some of those launches. We should talk about a lot of the things that happened yesterday, and this is just the beginning of the day at reInvent 2, which is kind of crazy. The other thing is, even before that, there were so many launches just moving into reInvent. I actually made a quick video, and I tried to go through all the launches in the reInvent bow wave.
So someone was asking earlier if we were going to have an auctioneer go through all the announcements, and Randall is our auctioneer.
yeah.
I have my New York voice that I can call upon every now and then, which I will use to go through every announcement in speed-like fashion. So let's talk about some of the announcements from last night. I think one of the biggest ones that we saw last night was a new service that Roger launched called RoboMaker, AWS RoboMaker.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was announced with a dance. I thought that was pretty cool.
Domo arigato.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Very appropriate.
So this is a service that basically allows you to do. Pardon me. I'm sorry. Allows.
You lost it.
Pardon me. That allows you to do continuous integration and deployment of ROS or
robot
operating system,
which
I believe is an open source thing
Yes.
that we're contributing to now.
It is.
And we have a whole kind of service console. You can go and look at it now. It's live, and there are a number of integrations back into the AWS cloud platform, into IoT with Greengrass and things like that make it all kind of this unified platform that you can deploy with your existing IoT fleets or with your existing kind of capabilities.
I think one of the big things to highlight there is the remote application deployment, right? Because that's difficult to do with IoT devices and robotics in general, right? Updating software from afar.
It is very difficult.
That's one of the things that RoboMaker is tasking.
So AM, this is a slight digression, but someone
great.
on the channel is saying that he recognizes us from last year, but who's a third person? So since you're one of our newest evangelists, can you introduce yourself for our Twitch friends?
Go for it.
You do.
Wow.
Go for it.
Wow. I'm MGraveli, it's short for Alan Michael. I joined about 6 or 7 months ago, and I came from a company called Box that does content storage. I was a solution architect there before. Done a couple other things. My first job out of college was as a elementary school teacher, so I think I'm perfectly suited for this job in that respect. But I've been doing a Twitch show actually too with one of my buddies, Nikki Klein, who will also be in a bunch of these sessions. Got one just a couple hours from now with her and the Alexa Skills team. But yeah, we've been running I think 6-episode show that we did on Twitch earlier this year. So that's what I've been up to.
All right. So
And you'll meet the rest of the evangelists as they come on during the week.
there's going to be a lot of content. You'll meet us all. But the most important thing is actually just to follow only me on Twitter and to follow no one else so that I can win in terms of number of followers. It's the most important thing for this entire stream. All right, let's move on.
But you should buy my action figure. Don't buy any of their action figures, just my action figure.
You have an action figure?
No, I don't have an action figure.
Okay, so let's move on to some of the other announcements. What you were very excited, I think, Am, about the Amplify console.
Oh, I love Amplify.
Tell us about it.
Oh, Amplify is so cool. Amplify in general is a newish feature of AWS. And I don't even really want to call it a service. Amplify Console definitely is a service, but Amplify itself was kind of a repackaging of already existing services.
Primarily AppSync.
Yeah, AppSync's a big part of it, but it uses a whole bunch. You got Cognito, you got S3. There's just a gamut of services that Amplify uses under the covers, but it's all geared towards client application development. So web apps, iOS, Android apps, that kind of thing. And it just helps you automatically connect to your backend services running in the cloud. Super cool. Really difficult to do for front-end devs, for example, who may not have any backend development experience whatsoever. The console that was just announced is a way, it's another CI/CD pipeline type tool, where it will take your Amplify backend services that you declare with the Amplify CLI and your front-end application, deploy them simultaneously, all through the pipeline that they've set up in the console.
And I saw there were a couple of built-in things. There was a Hugo built-in.
Yeah.
There was a Gatsby built-in.
Static site builder
Right.
Frameworks too. Yeah.
Those were awesome, and you click in, and it took me, I think it was 3 minutes, and it made a code build project for me. It built the whole pipeline,
Yeah.
and then I was just done.
It works off of your Git repo too.
Right.
Off of a branch, right? So you can have multiple different environments according to each branch that you have.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. It's something you should definitely check out if you're into the app dev world.
And the other thing is, I think Amplify makes working on real full-featured apps at hackathons way easier, because in a hackathon you're often doing this rapid prototyping step. You get given a challenge, and then you have to go out and you have to build it as quickly as possible. And I've never been able to build something faster than I have with Amplify.
No, absolutely.
I just boom, 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 and it's done.
It's interesting. You mentioned hackathons. That was my job at Box. We would be given 3 days to go on site to like some huge enterprise financial services company, for example, and they said we have 3 days to build a fully working, client application. This would have been a godsend because the amount of time that just UI itself takes, which that's another key piece of Amplify. There's pre-built UI components too for a lot of common workflows that you utilize.
Like I think one of the sample projects is the React multi-album photo or multi-photo album viewer or something.
Yeah,
that was really
cool. Definitely one of them.
I don't really do front end because
sure.
I'm not good at it. My front end involves drawing and stick figures.
Mine is just the welcome to Nginx page.
Oh, that's perfect.
PHP info.
That's the only web page you need.
So
you've got a server running.
Welcome to Nginx.
I love it.
This is exactly what operating system I'm running, and this is the unsecure version of Apache that I'm running. Please hack me.
That's all you need. It's perfect.
So the other kind of cool things that we launched were the AWS Snowball Edge Compute Optimized, which is a new Snowball Edge device. For those of you who don't know what Snowball is, it's a device. It's some 20 inches by 18 inches or something, and it's a big cuboid that is very rugged. It has a little e-ink display on it that when you order one, it ships from our data center. You can plug it into your data center with fiber, and then you say, hey, load stuff onto this, and then if you want, you can ship it back, or you can just keep it there, and you can basically get a little mini AWS within your data center. It's really, really powerful, and now the compute optimized one is way, 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 way more than what we previously had available. I was just looking at the numbers for this.
Yeah, I've got it pulled up. 52 vCPUs, 208 gigabytes of memory, 7.68 terabytes of SSD, 42 terabytes of S3 compatible storage.
So 42 terabytes, that's enough for my Magic the Gathering high resolution card collection, right?
Yeah, sure.
Extensive.
Yeah.
All of my GoPro skiing videos, I think 42 terabytes is not quite enough for that.
Yeah.
Evil Nero would like to know, does it run Doom?
Yes. you can run Crysis on
port,
max settings.
You gotta have port 666 open though to run Doom, because that's their port. They registered that port. It's crazy. I love it.
All the ports below 1024 had to be really hard to register back in the day. Anyway,
but they got 666. I think.
Speaking of running games on it, you have an option now to add an NVIDIA Tesla V100 GPU, so you could actually do real kind of matrix transforms, all kinds of other compute right on that device.
It's probably for video processing, not so much game.
Well,
but maybe.
Not with that attitude.
Well, you're right. You got me there.
What is a game but video processing, really?
It's true, yeah. I meant playing the game, but...
So someone from one of our Twitch chat friends has been listening to the announcements before us today.
Oh, great.
So someone's already gone to SFTP.
We're out of a job, everybody. Pack it
That's
up.
it.
Let's go.
Stream's canceled. Everyone go home.
So I think SFTP was probably one of the most anticipated as well as one of the most appreciated announcements. You can now have SFTP access to your Amazon S3 buckets. It's really straightforward to do this. What you do, you take you go into
I don't know where you're
SFTP,
going.
or you go into the console, you say, hey, provision an SFTP server for me, it'll
Right.
do that, and then you have access to all of your S3 buckets with whatever permissioning scheme you want, whether that's Active Directory or IAM or cross-account roles. You know, you can really set it up and run it in whatever fashion works best with your existing business practices.
You know what SFTP and I have in common?
I do not.
We're both 22.
Oh.
Port 22.
Port 22.
I'm 22.
What is 23?
I'm not
23 is Telnet, and then I forgot DNS is 53. That's
Yeah.
why we have Route 53,
Right.
and then Port 80 is HTTP. Why are we doing that? Okay.
This is really compelling streaming. You know who would
Today
love...
on Launchpad, they list all the ports
All
below
the ports.
1024.
But who will really appreciate this managed SFTP services? Those exact same enterprise financial services companies that I was working with at Box.
Well, one of the amazing things that a lot of people don't realize is that automated clearinghouses, when you do a bank transfer, that literally happens over SFTP. It's an SFTP transfer. I don't recommend that we continue this practice since it's from 1990, but
Sometimes oldies are good.
Yeah, it's true.
Anyway.
Some other S3 announcements also.
Oh, intelligent tiering.
Yep. And then there's an S3 session at 2 o'clock Pacific tomorrow, where it looks like we're going into some of the details on
And you're on that session, right?
For which?
The S3 one?
S3 intelligent tiering.
No, I don't believe it. I'm on a transfer service.
Gotcha.
We're going to be talking about data sync, which also is another launch, and we're going to be talking about that managed SFTP server, and we're going to be talking about the new compute optimized Snowball.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So let's cover two of these. So we have data sync. Data sync is basically a VMware image that you can run in your existing on-prem data center or hybrid cloud data center, whatever you want, and say, hey, I want you to push all of my data over a protocol to S3 or to NFS or Elastic File System, I guess. And so it works over NFS, which is a network file system. It uses a purpose-built protocol that accelerates secure data transfer over the internet, and also over Amazon Direct Connect. And if you don't know what Direct Connect is, it's a tool that you can use to basically get fiber from your data center to our data center, and then you don't have to transit the public internet in order to talk to us. And this protocol that DataSync was built on is actually, I think, 10x faster than traditional open source protocols?
Yeah, than open source, yeah, for sure.
And it's because we're able to take advantage of a lot of the stuff that we know about how S3 works, about how EFS works, all of that sort of stuff.
I think the overarching story here for a lot of these S3 services are migration, right? Migration from on-premises. Think about the SFTP server. Maybe I'm afraid to try cloud, right? Maybe I'm in one of these banking scenarios where we're still using SFTP. Well, now I can just pivot that in front of it, and I don't
have to rewrite any code.
I don't have to rewrite anything. All of my workflows stay the same, but now I'm suddenly magically in the cloud.
Just change an endpoint.
I think with the S3 things too, that people have a tendency to just have like these giant S3 buckets full of totally unstructured stuff. And I think the more you can do that kind of helps you tier that and sort that and figure out what things are for and organize it, the more actually useful it is. Because otherwise it's just like, how do I find the one file that I'm looking for in terabytes of other files?
Absolutely.
And we also launched a number of S3 features going into reInvent, and that's after a year of increasing S3 performance to EC2. One of those features was blocking public access, which is a new IAM policy that you can throw in front of S3 to say, hey, I want to turn off all public access to these buckets.
So I think that's actually worth mentioning in general, right, is that reInvent itself has tons of announcements in it, but also the weeks leading up to reInvent have tons of announcements. So you have lots of little things leading up to this, and then this is like the big week full of them, but we've been watching them come out for weeks.
Yeah. And so the other kind of cool S3 announcement from last night was intelligent tiering.
Right.
And this is something that it's an ML-powered storage class. So we have a couple different storage classes in S3. Things like infrequent access or, I forgot the others. Glacier, I guess, is a
reduced redundancy.
Reduced
right?
redundancy. And these all provide a tremendous amount of both availability and durability. I think it's 11 nines of durability at this point. And this new storage class is a machine learning powered storage class that optimizes storage costs automatically based on your data access patterns. So this is able to look at the access patterns that you have across your S3 bucket and objects, and it will automatically move them to those objects individually to the most cost-effective option. This can save a lot of money for different use cases and a lot of different protocols and ways that you're accessing your objects. And I think this brings up a very important point that is one of the reasons that I love working at Amazon and one of the reasons I love talking to AWS customers, which is we come up with tools all the time to reduce prices.
Right.
I think in this year alone, we've reduced prices 67 times. Or no, since the history of AWS, we've reduced prices 67 times. And we continue to do that. And we keep releasing tools to make it easier and cheaper to run these
There's
services.
no motivation to do that other than to get better pricing for our customers.
Right.
Either. Nobody's forcing us to reduce the prices in that sense, right?
There's really no competition in that particular space.
Right. Yeah.
So, what else did we announce yesterday? I think there was
We talked about batch operations in preview
Yeah.
for S3.
For S3. A lot of S3 announcements, actually.
It was like S3 day.
S3.
It was S3 day.
And then announcements pick back up tonight, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. I think the next like keynote-y type thing is Monday Night Live.
Right.
With Peter DeSantis, and that has some cool stuff in it. So I'm excited for everyone to see that. Someone asked about the security summit that was announced, and
Reinforce? What is it called?
Reinforce, I think?
Reinforce. Yeah.
I linked to the blog. I don't know a ton more than that. The announcement's really new to us too. I did a link for the announcement, so it's in the chat. I think we'll all find out more as that.
There was another storage announcement yesterday that I forgot to cover, which was EBS doubled the provision throughput available to provision IOPS volume. So we have a couple. EBS is Elastic Block Storage Service. So this allows you to mount a traditional block storage device. This is almost like plugging in a USB drive to your laptop, but this is when you have a server and you want to attach this block device to your server. You can create a 16 terabyte server, or I think you can go to 32 terabytes now, right? Did I make that up? 16 terabytes is what it was for a very long time, and it might be 32 now, it might not. But what you can do now is these provisioned IOPS volumes, they have an ability to go up to, I think previously it was 500 megabytes per second of throughput on each individual volume, and now you can go up to 1 gigabit per second or 1 gigabyte per second of provisioned throughput. That's 64,000 provisioned IOPS, and an IOP, an I/O operation, is I think 16 KB a read or write operation, and we meter things in that. So if you're this is way too technical, way too deep, but if you are setting block devices, you want to make sure, like in your ETF stab and stuff, that you have your read ahead set to 16 KB and not more, just so that you're not paying for I/O operations that you're not actually using. Way too deep. That comes from a past where I've been bitten by that. So
It sounds like it's coming from a place of hurt.
Who hurt you?
Yeah.
I hurt me. I did not read the best practices guide, and I got way more EBS charges than what I was expecting. And then I had to justify why I didn't read the documentation to my boss at the time. I think you can go on our new Nitro systems, basically 1,000 megabytes per second of throughput per volume. So you could take 16 of these things, throw them in a RAID 0, and you could get potentially a tremendous amount of performance. I don't recommend that, by the way. That's a terrible waste of RAID. But the other thing about EBS is you automatically have your snapshots copied to multiple availability zones, and you are able to move them around, which is pretty powerful.
You had me at RAID 0.
RAID 0.
I too like to live dangerous.
What is our favorite RAID array setup? Is it RAID 0, RAID 1, RAID 5, RAID 1.0?
You know, I'm not sure I have an opinion on that.
I don't think I've chosen a favorite.
That's like asking me to pick a favorite child, Randall.
Well, I won't get into Vim or Emacs, but we have one other
We
announcement
can't do this again. I won't. It's only Monday and I won't.
No, I'm not going to either.
So we have
I
one.
opt out of
to
this
engage.
conversation.
We also had S3 batch operations launch in preview, right? And the S3 batch operations, this is the ability to say, hey, let me run an inventory, get all my S3 objects, and then do whatever you want, whether it's create, update, destroy, run a Lambda function. You can just farm it all out to that, which is, I mean, it's almost like having elastic MapReduce, you know, just write in S3 as part of a regular API call.
You know, one I wanted to bring up too, this a little while back, but CloudFormation drift detection.
Ooh, yes.
That was super cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was even before reInvent even happened, and I think that was a huge ask, and it's a great feature.
Right. I mean, we had a ton of announcements leading into reInvent, but
what about some things that are kind of the fun parts of reInvent too? I've heard a lot of different. There's the Tatanka challenge.
that was last night at Midnight Madness.
Yeah.
So they,
Set 3 world records, allegedly. One for largest simultaneous glow stick lighting.
I think it was the largest simultaneous air drumming, wasn't it? Or were those two separate records?
I think those are 2 separate things. I
Okay.
think it was chicken wings,
All right.
air drumming, and largest glow stick lighting.
Gabe Hollum is asking, what is CloudFormation drift detection?
Oh.
What is CloudFormation?
And
CloudFormation.
you specifically put your name in it, so.
Oh, that's beautiful. All right. It's infrastructure as code. It's how I define out the infrastructure that I need to run my applications in YAML or JSON, or now using the CloudFormation CDK actual code, like TypeScript or Java. And with drift detection, it monitors when things drift, when they slip out of place, because somebody logs into the console and goes and changes settings. I'm not naming names at all. No, what? Why would you think that? Why would you accuse me of such things? But it'll monitor that sort of drift and keep you up to date around what's happening around the stacks that have been provisioned through your CloudFormation templates.
Aaron Cato wanted to know if Shaq did Midnight Madness again this year. There was no Shaq. It was 2 people from what
Portlandia.
Mackenzie tells you, yes, Portlandia.
So it was the cast of Portlandia came on stage and they did a little comedy routine.
Was it Fred
and-
Armisen?
Yeah, Fred Armisen was. I told you shouldn't have missed this.
Wow.
You went to bed.
I did. I missed out. Fred and Carrie.
Yeah,
I mean, Carrie Brownstein.
they were
is one of
both
my-
there.
You look like you watch Portlandia.
I live Portlandia, actually. Yeah. Carrie Brownstein.
Yeah.
Slater Kinney, man.
I know.
I
So-
think we have just about 3 minutes left.
We do.
So if we want to maybe talk about what people should expect if they're coming up on the channel, what they should expect the rest of the week, things happening.
You can expect me crying because I missed Carrie Brownstein and Fred Armisen.
Oh, I
I'm
gotta
an
show you.
idiot.
I gotta show you a picture later.
All right, but we're going to be doing interviews. We're going to be doing announcements. We're going to be doing roaming to see what's going on in different parts of the.
We're also doing something
Conference.
cool this afternoon, and I think a couple other times during the week, called Meet an Engineer. Engineers are not always the most public-facing job here. You might hear them give a session at reInvent or a summit. Sometimes we have them in keynotes, but you don't always get a chance to talk to them. So on Twitch this week, we're doing a couple of Meet an Engineer segments. So you'll get to talk to. There's a principal engineer on later this week. We actually have 2 principal engineers this week.
I think 3
More than one.
senior principals.
Senior principals. So there's all kinds of of cool interviews and technical chats that beyond just kind of the launch announcements and what's happening at reInvent, but a chance to meet some people that are behind the scenes working on all the things that you know and love every day, but that you wouldn't always get a chance to talk to.
So the best thing about the Twitch chat is you literally, or the Facebook chat is you have the ability to ask us questions while we're live here.
Yep.
And we're going to be here for the rest of the week at reInvent. I'd encourage you to tell your friends and post in your groups. If you can't make it to reInvent, we're trying our best to bring this experience to you. So please ask us any questions. We'll be online for the rest of the week.
Yep.
I'm going to be super excited about some of the announcements coming up, and I'm more than happy to talk about them with anybody. If you see me at reInvent, if you see any of us at reInvent,
Come say hi.
Come say hi.
Yeah.
We're very friendly and approachable. We're going to be wandering around.
But that's all we've got for now. But
Yeah.
we'll be back.
We'll be
We'll
back
be
in just a little bit. So thanks for tuning in, and you can hang out with us on twitch.tv/AWS all the way through Friday this week.
Yeah, and tune in tonight for Peter DeSantis' keynote, Monday Night Live, 7:30 p.m. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.